Hi, this is RA, the Chief Analyst at Internet Honey, and I'm going to walk you through the demographics dashboard so you can get a sense of how best to use it. Keep in mind this is in the current state. We might be making updates to this layout, but let's go through the current version. I've logged into my account and I have up on the screen the demographics dashboard, and there are a couple things to note. On the right hand side are a couple of the controls. One affects the date range, which I can change by clicking on this and then typing in, or I can use these sliders to change the data that's in this area of the dashboard. Additionally, in addition to changing the date range, I can change the types of behaviors that I want to see reflected in the dashboard. So you may have email opens, email clicks, you may have what other types of conversion behaviors you have in your account will show up here. So both of these are going to control everything else that I see in these three areas. Those three areas include the year-over-year data with comparisons of a percentage of what's the increase from last year with grand totals across the rows and grand totals at the bottom. I've also got a map that's splitting it into fiscal year. And what you may notice is that all three of these are actually calculating on fiscal year. So I've got fiscal years here, here, and here. The map is broken into fiscal years. If I were to change the date range to fiscal year July 1, 2012 through 2013, this map would then condense to one map of the US. And if I went back to 2009, it would again break it out into as many fiscal years as I had there. You may also notice that every time I mouse over a detail piece, there's a pop-up that gives me more information on it. So right now it's telling me that this is the state that I'm hovering over is New Mexico. It's dealing with the behavior date fiscal year 2013, and it's 1% of the total number of records that were converted during that time period. And I can keep only, which would only show New Mexico for 2013. Or I could exclude, meaning I wanted to show everything but this, and all these others would calculate accordingly. So the sources and year over year would calculate accordingly. I can also just click on a state. So for instance, if I were to click on Texas, it's going to isolate that and then recalculate the sources that produced conversions for 2013 in Texas, as well as what those behaviors were in Texas only. If I were to click off of the United States, it's going to reset that. So it's an interactive dashboard. Most of the things you click on are going to filter on those devices, on what you have selected. If I ever get confused and I need to reset all of what I was just looking at, I can hit this revert all and it will undo all of those changes. Additionally, if I want to save those changes to be viewed later, I can give it a custom name, click remember, and it will save that view for me. The last piece I want to draw your attention to is sources. These are the sources of what converted during this time period and this state and this behavior type. So if I were to come through and look at Madden, or excuse me, OVG request form from the website and click on it, everything else is going to redraw accordingly. And now I can see for both of these years what the website was producing in each fiscal year, and then what my changes were from fiscal year to fiscal year. If I want to reset that, I click off, and it's going to bring back all of my data. So as you can see, By clicking on these sources, it's going to show me what is available in that when I drill down on that, so I can see the Visitor Center sign-in sheet is producing 102% increase over last year, so it's almost doubled, and I can see that the driving range is much farther in this fiscal year. So that's just an example of how I can use the interactivity of this dashboard to further filter and see this data. Remember that the revert all will undo all of the changes or any activity that I've set by interacting with it. I can save my changes right here. If I have admin permissions, I can click edit and go in and make changes like to the colors or other properties of this dashboard. I can also click on download, and the download will give it to me in a local file that I can use later. I can also have this export as an image or a PDF if I'm going to take this to a meeting. Please note that the PDF has some options. Most of the time it is what you see. So how you see it formatted here is how you're going to see it when you download it as a PDF. This small email icon allows me to subscribe to changes. So I can come in and enter in my email address and get this sent to me on some frequency. For instance, I can have it sent every weekday morning, every Monday, however I want that, and I can give it a name so I know what to look for. So that will send it to me without having to log into the system. Another important piece to know about your dashboard is there's on-the-fly sorting. So I can click on a column header and sort by that column. I can also come in, so this is going to alpha sort these guys. I noticed that there was a property in here called null. I don't want that to show up, so if I wanted to just clean up the data and click exclude, I can do that. Similarly, if I see a couple here that are pretty much the same, I can hold down the shift key, highlight them, and then when I get my mouse over, I'll see a paperclip. And what that will do is it will group them so that I don't have as many onesie twosies. I could group several of these into other, and if I could save that and then hit revert all, and it will take me back to the original data set. So that's how you interact with the demographics dashboard and a little bit about the data that's supporting that. I hope you find this a useful tool. Thank you.